afternoon at Windibanks in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason. Okay, let's get on with the cross-examination. We are rolling. Okay.
Hold it!
Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties, having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. Which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. He claimed that was your overcoat. Obviously, and in my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet, there's a note on it that reads, "For McGilded." I'm a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city. I was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question, it's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of your overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly. Gina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGilded had threatened to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. This is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. Okay.
Hold it!
So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted a ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right. Despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind frequent.
Objection!
Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to the pawnbrokery that day, prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windibanks. To get your hand on Mr. McGilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. For what possible use it can be. Oh, bullshit, you bitch. Had you ever been to Windibanks before? Only once, for the purposes of pawning something. But like many, I enjoy browsing in such fine establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after it, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once, in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. You can say that with legs. Well, he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence.
Is that right? Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zeeks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough! Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume? The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're going to need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here. Well, it would appear that the inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. But perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items. No, not at all. Oh? A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing of McGilded's left in his shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. Wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. McGilded slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited at Windibanks. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it. That witness is lying through his pearly white teeth. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into custody that day. But Gregsy's being very strange about all this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Graydon is lying through his teeth. Okay.
Hold it! Is that right? Excuse me.
Okay. Okay. I think he does.
Hold it!
I think he's going after the manuscript. God damn it, I
Hold it!
did it again. Fuck. I meant to present evidence right there, and I pressed again. God damn it. Stop pressing! Okay. I think it's obviously here. I have no reason to go in there, except for one reason.
Objection! Objection!
All right. I'm missing something here. Huh. I'm gonna press again through all this.
Hold it!
God damn it.
Hold it! Objection!
Huh.
Hold it!
Okay. Give me a second. Forget what. Oh, geez. I don't know what I need to do here.
Objection!
God damn it. What is the fuck? Where is the...
Objection!
Damn it, man. I don't know what... I don't know where the game wants me to go. I don't know what the game wants me to do right here. Not sure what the game wants me to do.
Hold it!
Is that right?
The disc here. Presumably to aid their investigation some way. Maybe.
Hold it!
Okay. Not the first
Is
one.
that right?
There's gotta be something I'm missing stupidly obvious.
Is that right?
Excuse me.
Hmm. I have an idea. I have an idea of what we're gonna... If not, we'll just look it up.
Objection!
Ugh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna look this one up. got it. Something I didn't think about. Okay. Alright, we'll load. I didn't expect it to be that. I would have been sitting here all night. But I was on the right one. It
Objection!
was just the wrong one as well. Disc was deposited at Windibanks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at Windibanks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Ah! There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibanks pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd! Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed. Witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Von Ziegs? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious! Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Ah, Hurley's red-handed recorders again. As previously explained using the plan of the shop layout, victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One set captured the counter where Mr. Windibank received his customers, and the other was set to capture shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, McGilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13th of April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on 15th of April. The victim certainly had a full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. Yo, hey there, Bjarn. How's Bjarn doing tonight? I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. Though I must say, placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one of the possible motives in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of the 2 photographic prints. Doing good? How about me? I'm doing fantastic. Is the schedule in your about section still up to date? Probably. I probably need to update a few things. I haven't touched that in a little while. And Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question, and my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilded's pawn box, I might have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these 2 photographs really are exactly the same. Nope, they're not. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday at 5:30. Nope, it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday at 5 now. I've been starting about a half hour earlier. I definitely need to update that then there, Bjarn. I need to update that and a few other things. They aren't. What? So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? Seems that in fact on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do I accept that? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these 2 photographic prints somewhere? Before I give my answer, my lord, I'd like to try something if I may. Try something? What do you mean, counsel? I'll need to use a certain piece of evidence from the court record to identify the discrepancy. I'm not entirely sure I follow. Which piece of evidence do you intend to help? I mean...
Take that!
Making content since 2009. Yup. Wasn't even born. Right? I've been making content a long time. I've had people from my old YouTube channel pop in and say, hey, I'm in my 30s now, and thanks for getting me through this, that, and the other thing. Yo, like, it's been crazy. I'd like to use this device, my lord, to view the 2 prints stereoscopically. Oh! Oh yes! You've caught the bug at last! You can't resist it, can you? You've got the cross-eyed compulsion! Juror number 3, what a surprise. Come on, Runo. Let's put the pictures in place and see what this wonderful contraption shows us. There we go. Now through the eyepiece. I wasn't sure at first, but there's a clear discrepancy between these 2 prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. I mean, it's pretty... That pink-haired girl was a kid, right? Yeah. She's a 10-year-old super genius.
Take that!
Granted, these 2 prints are almost identical. However, there's one minor discrepancy between them. What? When you view the 2 pictures stereoscopically, yep, her father is her father was in Japan and was murdered in the first case. Mr. Wilson in the first case that was murdered was actually her father, and left Mr. Sholmes in care of her while he was away at university. A single area stands out as being different: the location of this small box. The guy on the wagon? Not the guy on the wagon, it's a little bit before that. I mean, wait. Unbelievable! By Jove, you're right! How extraordinary! What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact, yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints?
Objection!
Wasn't found at the time. Oh yeah. And that's fine. You know, mindless guesswork. What if it was? It just proves all these cases are pretty much interconnected. So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen, which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but alright, McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But does the fact that it was moved like that change things? Maybe following the challenge, but not the series. Oh yeah, yeah. I understood what you meant. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside the box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windibanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Von Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. I've been following you for a year now, exactly a year. Thank you for the support there, Bjarn. 1 year hype. Woo, hell yeah. Oh no, Baron Von Zeeks is angry. And I've been playing We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Von Zeeks. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nepalese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. That the witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly! It would be beyond absurd to break into the place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. Probably about this time too? Hell yeah. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of this trial. I'm pretty sure it was during a Ratchet and Clank stream too, there, Bjarn. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society's reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend in his most insightful defense. Yup. articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. What a bitch. You're on a floating island? Hell yeah. You know, that does make... Oh, come on. You people are brain dead. Prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It's incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case? Stop throwing your wine, it's wasteful, right? I think it was going commando, if I'm not mistaken. What's the matter, Runo? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGilda's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilda's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. But Ginny, could it be that Von Zieks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry? What do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out every time. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilda deposited with Mr. Windibank is something that only Gina could explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. Genuinely, how is she allowed in a courtroom, right? Okay, it's time to get... My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh? What proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilda's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited Mr. Windibank's by Mr. McGilda, my lord. Miss Lestrade's information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact of what it'll have on the accused's standing and indeed your own. I have. Lord Von Zieks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well. If you have no objection. So the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Your witness currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina. It's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Runo. The articles that Mr. McGilda had deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we are, all again. The same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged, that the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body that then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having being acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on, as indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in Omnibus 2 months ago? I don't know what you mean. I already said all what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in a trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. Iris, we're on your side. Alright then, I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about its ears. So be it. I must confess I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGild's pawned articles in that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it, then. Everything's going to come out. Like Von Zeke said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Here we go, it's getting really crazy now. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the stop. That's when McGilded slipped the driver something to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then, there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in Mr. McGilded's trial. Sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in his courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial of this witness and my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. You're wrong, the whole lot of you. Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer there, you don't know nothing about it. Humbug! I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable, stop. The lies have to stop, stop! Yes, defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's pawned articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with cross-examination. Here we go. It's getting really good. This might be one of my all-time favorite cases I've ever played in this game series. There's a lot of really good ones.
Hold it!
And you were hiding in a cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me that I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind. Well, anyway, they got louder and louder, and it started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. Then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all. I believe you let out an involuntary scream? Yeah, that's what gave me away. When the Irishman...
Hold it!
Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right on the... next to the cove lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions. Like what my name was and where I lived and all that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed? Yeah, that's right. First there was kind of rapping noise.
Hold it!
There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats of the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up and the horses, and McGilda got me out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the two coves from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGilda, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes? He also testified in the trial, I believe. What an idiot this guy is. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. What did McGilda and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened, and stuff like that mainly.
Hold it!
That pawn shop obviously being Windibank's on Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Indeed, Lord Von Zeeks. McGilda took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up, all careful-like, before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remembered thinking, that coat and what's in it, it's got to be worth a few bob. Yes, Jean was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember quibbing with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when McGilda flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin.
Hold it!
Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to Scarborough if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony 2 months ago? Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was? He told me that I have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay money to keep it in lug, to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilda have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of police makes no sense at all. Or it seemed to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilda had the driver deposit at Windibank's was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up. Well done, Gina. Can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Ginny's really put her faith in you, Bruno. Yes, and to think her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible. It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement. Another thing. What's that? Take a look at these two. Isn't that strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time? Yes, that is strange. Looks like they are having a secret discussion about something. Completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. Okay.
Hold it! Excuse me.
Inspector, Mr. Graydon! What? Blimey! You're trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is this discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, Sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this? I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. Well, it appeared that on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, though I don't understand why as of yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the Omnibus incident, McGilded's code and contents were due to be forfeited. I made it? How's the case going? Oh, it's Egbert? Indeed. And welcome there, GF Rex! So, yeah. The title of this stream is so good because technically, yes, I got a summons today to go to jury duty. I need to fill it out and fill out everything for jury duty. It's going to be fun times. But thankfully it's local. It's only a local county related stuff. With jury duty, I get to sit on a possibly they must have caught my stream right. They're like, oh, you're playing a court game, but yeah, jury duty means I get, if selected, I get to sit on a jury and decide guilty or not guilty in a court of law. McGilded's code and its contents were due to be forfeited. Didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I'd just say guilty every time. Oh God. I mean, the cove died right after his trial. I knew that. So you decide you would try to claim the articles as your own? Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Yeah, I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably going to sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord! The evidence your lordship requested has been located. It's ready for the court's inspection, sir. Just got the 1-year anniversary message? Nice! Congrats! Hell yeah, there, Bjorn! Deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in his far-reaching puzzle. Oh man. Okay, here we go. So this is the article in question, is it? Small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. On the night of Mr. Windenbank's murder. The only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, quick, let's open and see what's inside. Good gracious, this is an ordinary box it seems. Wow, although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case, it would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. My parents were in town, so went out for dinner. Then my dad wanted to see an antique steam engine that's been crossing country. So we went to see it right as it rolled into town. Nice! Nice there, GFX! Hell yeah! So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc, deposit at Windibanks at much the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to the curious disc at last.
Hold it!
Wait, my lord. Good grief. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? Music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music.
Objection!
This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understand what happened. Prosecution has no objection. But no, the piece of evidence is police property. Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is the policy of the prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored, and you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. No further delays, please. Play the disc. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on, it's Morse code. That's this Morse, yep. Does it say a pun? That's what I'd say, what I'd make the Morse code say. A pun? Hell yeah. Is Inspector Fish and Chips hiding something? It seems like it. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? It could be a clue. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel, mere noise. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. As if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh? Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? Of course, we know it's Morse code. Not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. I don't know what the answer is yet. Runo? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly, and I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Isn't broken. It must mean that the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah, could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by the music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Consul? Seeing so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to a single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. I'm back in this trial, and if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. Oh man. It's the paper.
Take that!
Today's paper, Council? The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pickpurse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. I know, my lord. I was hoping you'd look out further down the page. Further down? Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice? The paper? Are you the hand in the toilet, right? Exactly. Very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I've heard that international transmission along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever does this matter? You told the court before that you worked the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports. Oh yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madame. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it! Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, counsel, deserving a capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason, and what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night, 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word. In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry, because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. In order to do that, he would have to gain entry to pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night, because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got in the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous! Absolutely preposterous! So in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do! I had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away!
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that crime under scrutiny is the trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank, that being a most flagitious offense, for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less a serious crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may...
Hold it!
You gotta let's have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon, what do you think, who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin, professional baddie. Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Bad timing, fellas, very bad timing. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into Gaff the other night like what he told us to do. If we'd been there, was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Oh, here we go. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? What Mr. will do, Governor? What's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of three in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here? We did, Gov. We did. Oh my god. Quiet down, please. Please, what do you say to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. Never said nothing about government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor bloke didn't have to die, did he? Who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into court record as evidence. Okay. We're gonna examine that bitch first. Couldn't be a more perfect fit. I'm played in this music box. Yet, despite that, it sounds like it makes sense. Wonder if perhaps there's more to this music box than meets the eye. It's a sound, isn't it? Yes, the movement. It's all thanks to the comb with its teeth are plucked by. Usually, teeth are. This comb is very strange. All the teeth are exactly the same length. It means that no matter which tooth is plucked by the passing bumps, the music box will play the same sound. Never seen a music box like it before. Strange. A music box that only plays a single note. Oh? What is it, Runo? I've just noticed something about this music box. Looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are we waiting for? Let's open it up. Alright then, here goes. Look at that. There's another movement on the underside. So does that mean you can send another disc to play on the back on this side? Yeah, I think so. And it looks like two movements are linked together. They're linked? So if you had two discs, you would play both at the same time. Who'd have thought there would be a second movement on the underside of the box? And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are the same length. So this movement only produces a single tone like the other one. Yes, it must do. Except the length of the teeth on two cones isn't the same. So the single tone produced by this movement will be different to the single tone we've already heard. What? Basically, each movement can only produce a single note. But the notes they produce are different. A music box that can play only two tones. Okay, let's make sure. Okay. Alright, We are rolling there, guys.
Hold it!
So this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted? How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Let me guess. Juror number 5. We regular communication staff officers aren't as lowly as we're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by Ministry. Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. Graydon's highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idle, stop. So you had access to equipment used for those confidential communications, Mr. Graydon. Well, what of it? Transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. In any case, all messages are sent and ciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with Ministry technicians, Ministry communications teams. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications. He's received the top prize in the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. Graydon's highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idle, stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Oh.
Hold it!
They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to the music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. He looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct the letters. I see. For example, this is A. And this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. That is not Morse code. Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? The music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris. I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slide into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box? Okay. There's still every possibility that... That's believed the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nepalese friend, repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? There's already been established that to be Morse code dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code? Yes, this is it then. What? All right.
Hold it!
I want to reload that. I want to reload that.
Objection!
There we go. Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in the music box, and the sounds of both will play at the same time. Good heavens! As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, the music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. The poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with a second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago, striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe cross-examination should continue. Okay. They're like, hey, you did the right thing, but it's not right yet.
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do? That's it, yeah. Who else, eh? Silly me thought he was just popping over for a natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Eh, Ash? Let me stop you right there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? What's the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's... Okay. Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Eh? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together, with Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash, I mean. You look at him now, he's fancy whistling flute and wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when he was younger, he was a poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? Well, he was always a leery one. He had brains, he had savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Lord blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you down memory trip lane. Counsel, I don't know. Could that Samuel story be relevant somehow? Add it to the testimony. My lord. Yes, counsel? The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more. A skulkin's never skulkin'. We know that
Objection.
what?
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals. That was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate. But on what? So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? It was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh, right. I thought a clever clogs like you'd have worked that one out.
Hold it!
Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel?
Objection.
Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well, it weren't the happiest of homes that one came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is old bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of two thieves, huh? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details would have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. We were born Ashley Milverton then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. Information could change things and could turn out to be extremely important. All of a sudden, we seem to be up in our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windibanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. Wonder if the key is to making headway with Croc's. Oh God.
Objection.
Actually. There we go. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's a real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man we now know as, understand to have been negotiating with McGilded. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker? That's right. Boy, Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't... As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. Truth is, you've been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. The new facts and evidence unveiled by a cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborate with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using two music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and Brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc as a pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windibanks 2 days ago in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box? Eh? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windbake was killed, the intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item alone, the music box. It's rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera. So the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was there only 1 article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir? There appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ah! 2 nights ago, we all know 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibake's pawnbrokery. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Mr. Shulman's waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, the wound on your arm that you seem to have been trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common back-slum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. Ruh-roh. But that's all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets? Negotiating with McGilded? As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to bow down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact, which is, well, we know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. Bullet from Skulkin Brothers' gun hit the pouch around Shulman's waist, and the bullet from Mr. Windibake's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibake was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. That's right, Mr. Graydon. Grr. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibake that night is you!
Hold it!
You little upstart! You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yeah. Yes, as you rightly... I was there at the pawnbrokers. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. And no intention of ruining the distinguished career I built for myself at a communication station. But did the thought never cross your mind Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? What you thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. And with that, we are going to save. And we will finish this Monday there, guys. I'm losing my voice. So thank you to GFX, Bjarn, Scotticus, and everyone that lurked tonight. And I will see you guys on Saturday when we do some digital championship wrestling. I'll see you guys then.